thank you for having me. And Trish right over here, she actually is hosting me being here and helping me out a ton, so thank you. So if you didn't get a sample, Trish will help you. But I am so excited to be in Coeur d'Alene. I actually am from Michigan. You could tell by the way I talk, but I live in Austin, Texas. So do you guys know how hot it is in Austin, Texas right now? So as soon as I got off the plane, my hair just kind of calmed down and I was like, thank God. I feel like Tina Turner gone bad all summer so far. So I'm really glad to be here. It's absolutely gorgeous. So you guys are so lucky. It's just, I want to stay a whole week, but thank you and Pilgrims for hosting this. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I think a lot of times when you hear about somebody who is active and they love to be healthy, I think sometimes we tend to think that they've always been like that and they're just lucky. And I've noticed, and I actually love Pilgrims, the education that they bring here. When it's on YouTube, I'm able to watch it and not, if I can't come. And I noticed a trend that these people who come here have this passion. Do you notice that? And they have this story. And I feel that same way, and I really want to share that with you. I grew up in the standard American diet. Who knows what that is? Sad, right? And in that time, I'm 32, so we have to think 80s and 90s. Remember the microwave coming out and it was mom's new best friend? Well, I grew up in a single family household, and at age 11, we actually moved out of my grandpa's house into our own home, and so I took that role of caring for my brother. So what does an 11-year-old able to do as far as cooking? Use the microwave. So we were products of the microwave, or say mac and cheese. And right away in middle school, I started getting sick, and they diagnosed me with proteinuria, which basically just means you have too much protein in your urine, which is a sign of being acidic. So see a trend there with what I was eating and how I was feeling. Then I got to high school and I started passing out randomly. So I did testing for that, and I would have to stay up all night and they would have to see what was going on in my brain. And I was diagnosed with neurological epilepsy. So it's basically my brain was having seizures. So they gave me medication and said, you need to take this the rest of your life and you will have epilepsy. Have a nice day. So in high school, I had that. And then between my freshman year and sophomore year of college, I started getting these really bad migraines. Who's had migraines before? I mean, you can't even function. So they were so strong that they gave me this very heavy medication that said, do not operate a vehicle or machinery. So I spent the entire summer at home taking this medication. So I went off to college and I gained the freshman 15 2 times. So those that have been in college know what that's all about. I think now it's trending of the freshman 40, so we have to do something about that. So I gained all this weight, and I just kept going back to the store buying bigger pants, like I wasn't making the correlation. And then my senior year of college, I decided to go into the workforce and work full-time and finish my degree on the side. So I was working about 60 hours a week. I was living off of Diet Pepsi. Back then, do you guys remember Pepsi One? I loved that stuff. I would buy it by the case. Pepsi One and animal crackers. And then I would swing through the drive-thru at Wendy's, and that was my day. Can you imagine what my body was made up of? And I started getting sick again. And I went to the doctor, and he looked at me and he said, your body is eating its way out. You have severe ulcers. You have got to stop this. So he gave me medication, and I went to fill it at the drugstore, and I was walking to my car. I'm like, okay, so now how many medications am I on? And at that moment, I decided, you know what? I'm not going down this path. I'm done. I just can't do it anymore. And maybe you've been that way, or maybe you feel that way or know someone who has. I threw it in I didn't even fill I got it. I threw it in the trash. I went home. I got rid of all my other medications. Of course, you're not supposed to just stop taking your medications, but I'm very determined. So I decided I'm going to learn this health thing. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to tell people about it, and I'm going to help people feel good. So I enrolled, as she said, I got my master's degree in holistic nutrition, and then it was just the fire was started. My friends would ask me stuff. I lost all this weight. I had energy. I was glowing. My skin cleared up, and they're going, what are you doing? What is your magic secret? And I would tell them about, you've got to eat this way and you've got to do these things. And I realized that I'd found my passion and my calling, and I just love it. I mean, can you imagine waking up every day with so much energy? You're so excited for the day. I'm like this all the time. My husband's like, oh my gosh, give me 5 minutes. I just woke up. Like, I'm ready to go. So I'm excited to share my knowledge with you guys. I hope you just walk away with one thing. If you learn just one thing, it'll be worth your time for being here. And like she said, I would love to hear your feedback. So I talk fast, as you can tell. So why I have the handouts, a little easier to follow along. Also, if you have a question throughout, just jot it down for me, and then I will be staying after as long as you guys need me to answer your individual questions. Okay, you guys ready? Okay. So we're going to talk about SuperFood Slimdown, and this is obviously such a great topic because whether or not you feel you have a few pounds to lose, even if you've reached your ideal weight, one thing I've noticed, it's still hard to find a balance and maintain a healthy weight, isn't it? For those that might be close to where you want to be or where you're at, or you need to lose weight. I mean, we're going to look at some statistics, but the fact of the matter is, the majority of the Americans are overweight or obese. So this is a great topic. This is something that can help everybody, and I'm going to share with you a little twist to a typical weight loss seminar. We're going to talk about superfoods, and you're going to be blown away at what these superfoods can do. So what is a superfood? Basically, it's going to help with your health and well-being. We're going to talk about that. Obviously, if you're at the weight you want to be, you're going to feel better about yourself, aren't you? And I, as a nutritional consultant, the majority of my clients are females, but I've had big grown men. I had a 235-pound U.S. Army guy, and he's sitting there going, "Kim, I hate the way I look in the mirror. I'm so embarrassed." And he's like near tears. So it really is for everybody. But when you're at the weight you want to be, you feel good about yourself. You have energy. You want to play with your kids. After work, you want to go out and go for a run. You don't feel tired and need to be in front of the couch. So superfoods is definitely all about health and well-being. So what are superfoods? You have all heard of superfoods, correct? When I do shopping, and Pilgrim's is amazing, by the way. We don't have anything like Pilgrim's. I wish we could just copy it and put it in Austin. But if you go in the aisles and you're by the protein bars, what do you see? Superfood protein bar. And then I saw a new salad that just came out. It's the superfood salad. It's just one of those packaged ones. So it really has become in the media, it's one of those trendy things. But what we're going to talk about is real superfoods, meaning fresh fruits, vegetables, things like that. Now, superfoods, all you have to remember when it comes to superfoods, they have more nutrition ounce for ounce compared to anything else out there. So if you took a bowl of broccoli, to get the benefits nutritionally, you might have to eat 5 to 10 cucumbers. Does that make sense? We're going to talk about the most powerful, nutritious foods on the planet. Why this is important is because we don't get enough nutrition in our diets. The majority of us have some kind of nutrition deficiency. So by powering up with these superfoods, we're able to flood our body with that good nutrition. So superfoods basically are just is dense with nutrition that you can get. Now, why do we eat superfoods? Because they contain more nutrients than anything else, but more importantly, they've been shown to reverse or prevent serious diseases that we're facing in America right now. For example, cardiovascular disease, we all know this is the #1 killer in America, correct? Over 50% of deaths are from cardiovascular disease. So if we can find some healing foods that help counteract that, we're going to be making huge progress. On top of that, type 2 diabetes, about 26 million people, and it's probably more than that, are currently diagnosed with diabetes. Another 79 million are pre-diabetic. So we're looking at 100 million people, that's about a third of Americans, have diabetes or are pre-diabetic. Do you remember when you were in grade school, were there a lot of kids that were diabetic? I don't even think I had anyone in my class that was. And now that's something where 1 out of 3 are. So we definitely have got to stop this trend immediately. And superfoods can help with that. Hypertension, obviously high blood pressure is very common as well. And it costs us a lot of money in medical bills. And then cancer, it's the #2 cause of death in the US as well. And just so you guys know, make sure you're following along, taking notes. At any time, there is a fitness area over there, so we might have to get up and go over there and work out if I see anybody nodding off. So just keep an eye on that. All right, so superfoods have been shown to support fighting free radicals. So sometimes people they've heard of free radicals, but they're not quite sure what it is. Free radicals basically, think of free radicals as rogue cells in your body, is the way I like to imagine them. So say you are really stressed out. Well, you produce toxins in your body, or you have a fast food meal. You're producing toxins in your body. Well, what happens is your cells, they become altered. So you have these free radicals, and basically these free radicals go around and cause havoc in your body. They mutate your cells, and then they start to replicate and cause disease. So superfoods can actually fight free radicals. Detoxification. Why is detoxification important? Believe it or not, detoxification and weight loss are very closely linked. When you hear the word detoxification, what do you think of? cleansing and things like that, correct? Well, what people don't know is a lot of times your toxins, they're stored in fat cells. And for your body to break down fat cells, your liver has to be nice and clean, efficient, and it has to produce bile, which is going to break down the fatty acids. So you have to constantly be detoxifying your body. We're exposed to toxins every single day. So I'm going to show you guys foods tonight that you can start eating tomorrow that are going to help detoxify your body every single day. And a healthy weight, which obviously we're talking about that tonight, and anti-aging. Anti-aging and healthy weight go hand in hand. Those that have a healthy weight and are able to maintain it live longer than those that do not. So I'm sure everyone here wants to live as long as humanly possible. So why do we need superfoods? Look at this list, you guys. Soil depletion, and that one we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Poor elimination. Obviously, we'll talk about that as well, but we are not eliminating properly. Poor diet, overconsumption, stress, antibiotics, all of these things cause toxins in our body. They wreak havoc on our body, and they cause disease as well. And acidic bodies as well. That's another big thing we'll talk about too. The air we breathe. I don't know if you guys knew this at all. This really shocked me when I was doing research on this, but 4.6 million people die each year from causes directly related to air pollution. And also children see the doctor, they go to the doctor 23 times on average in their first 4 years of life, and it's usually linked to respiratory issues. So it's, there's this picture here, and it looks like fog or something. It's not, it's smog. And this isn't unusual anymore. So it is what it is, and my personality is more, let's talk about what we can do, which we're going to spend the majority of tonight talking about that, but I really just want you guys to realize the situation and how serious this really is, just to help motivate you to take action and to really incorporate as much of what we talk about tonight in your lives. So these are the facts. The water we're drinking, Louisiana, their waterways, industrial facilities dumped over 12 million pounds of toxic chemicals in their waterway. Do you think we might be drinking some of that? Yeah, just Louisiana's waterway. And the EPA reported since 2005 they had found 3 million cases of people drinking water that were at the illegal limits for certain toxic chemicals. So I know for a fact there's water that has antibiotics in it, right? Because it's all recycled through the system. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be taking somebody else's antibiotic, right? So it's definitely true. So here's a picture, and this is just a random place where there was some garbage in the water. Think about that. In a way, we could be drinking that water. And here's another one too. So a chronically constipated society. This is something that I have found to be extremely common with my clients, because we talk about, your bowel movements. It's important. That actually shows a lot about your health. On average, per day, we should be having 2 to 3 healthy bowel movements per day. My clients, usually when they first see me, aren't even having that per week. Now, every time you eat a meal, if you don't eliminate it, what happens? It's reabsorbed into your body as a toxin. So we have to look at that what's going on? What are we doing? Why is this? So there's some things that you can actually do to make sure you do have those healthy bowel movements. But use that as your kind of your temperature gauge to see where your body's at. Use that as a way to know. Less than 50% of people have at least one bowel movement per day. I know of cultures that they don't even eat until they have a bowel movement. So if they have, it's their way of knowing, okay, maybe my body's ready. Think about babies. They're going all the time. All right, how we become nutritionally depleted and deficient. So have you guys heard anything about the soil? How it's depleted? Nutrition, okay. So back in 1936, the U.S. Senate produced a document, and they projected within 100 years, the soil would be about 85% to 100% depleted, because they could see the farming methods and the habits with that, and some of you know farmers, right? And what happens is we keep farming over and over in the same spot, so that soil doesn't have time to regain those nutrients, and we're putting chemicals in there and things like that, and pulling the nutrients out. Guess what percentage we're at since 1936? We are at 85% less nutrition than back in 1936. So what does that mean? We're not getting enough nutrients. And Dr. Lindsay Duncan, he's my mentor. I actually get to work with him. I'm an educator and trainer for Genesis Today, so they're the sponsors for the free samples we have. And he is the creator and the founder of Genesis Today. And he just was talking about the soil and things like that, and how important those nutrients are. And obviously we know that. We have to have that nutrition in our bodies. Obesity is a worldwide epidemic, and we're going to look at some numbers for this. But right now, we're trending that by 2015, if we continue at the trend that we're at right now, 75% of Americans will be overweight by the year 2015. Can you kind of believe that if you think about it?
I believe it.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was thinking when I think of Dr. Lindsay. He'll always say the walking wounded. And if you just kind of look around when you're out in public, he calls it the walking wounded, meaning people are still walking around, but we're wounded. You know, we don't have the nutrition in our bodies and things like that. So we have got to proactively design a nutrition program, make sure our diet is where it needs to be, our exercise, and I'm going to give you awesome tips for that today. So obesity, let's look at some trends. This chart, and you can kind of see the color coding a little bit better in your handout, but this chart is going to show you obesity trends since 1985. These trends are for people who had a BMI, that's body mass index, of 30 or higher. So technically, the way we gauge things, 30 means obese, okay? So 30 or higher is obese. So if you look at this, in 1985, no, we didn't have too much data, so the next slide you'll see a little bit more. But at this time period, we had 8 states were in the 10 to 14% range for being obese as far as their population. About 8 states had 10 to 14%. Now let's go 5 years later. Do you see the colors filling in? Now we have 30 states that are 10 to 14% range. So we have more data as well, so it's a little tricky to compare apples to apples. But again, we still don't have any states with that darker color, meaning they're 15% or 20% obese. Now, if you go to 1997, just a few more years later, and you guys think about, when you think back to 1997, around that time, what was happening? You know, we were adding all kinds of chemicals, more processed food, more medications, things like that, and look what was happening. We have 14 states are still in that 10 to 14%. We now have, with that, we have 15 to 19% and 20%. Almost the whole map is colored, full of that. It's obesity. Look at how quickly it changed. And 2000, this right here, this, and you guys, it's 2012. It's probably bright red now if you look at the chart now. We have on this chart in 2000, half of the states were in the 15 to 19% category, and 20% were at half of the U.S. was at 20% or more. Just in such a short time, it just blows my mind. So I don't know about you, but I definitely want to change this right now. So obesity, health-related problems. If pounds are shed, a number of health issues improve or even disappear. So we're going to talk about ways, things that can help fight hypertension, so high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, and many other health conditions. I've seen clients who will just tweak something like they'll take all the gluten out of their diet, or they'll take all the casein out. You know, they'll go dairy-free. And these things are on this medication. Their doctor said, you're going to be on that for the rest of your life, so have fun with that. Completely clear up. There's got to be a correlation there. So how to cleanse the body. So we're going to talk about detoxification. We're going to talk about cleansing. There's 7 channels of elimination, and this is basically the different ways you can cleanse your body. So we have the bowels. Obviously, we talked a little bit about eliminating, but if you're eliminating out, obviously, your kidneys, so through your urine, your lungs, breathing, that's a way to eliminate toxins, and then your skin, sweat. I encourage everyone, if you're currently not active, consciously active, so some people might have active jobs, but if you're not consciously active and you want to be, all you have to do is just go out for a 20-minute walk, and you guys have the most beautiful place to do that. 20-minute walk 3 times a week. Go fast enough on your walk, a brisk walk, that you'll break a sweat. If you break a sweat, guess what you're doing? You're detoxifying your body. You're eliminating toxins out. And how great is that? Get some fresh air, grab a friend. I've called my dad before on runs and caught up with him. I mean, be creative about it. But that's a great way to get rid of those toxins. And distribution. So blood, liver, and lymphatic system are also responsible for channels of elimination. So how we nourish. Here are some things that we can do to nourish our body. A liquid multivitamin, and obviously Pilgrim's has an amazing selection. If you ever need help with your choice, just go ask a staff person. That's what they're there for. And a liquid multivitamin, why I like liquid is because it's absorbed the best way in your body. It absorbs anywhere from 80 to 90% better than a tablet or a capsule. There are some really cool capsules that actually have liquid in them. If you've seen those before, those are cool too. But the reason why I like a multivitamin is I think of it as my insurance. So we're creatures of habit, right? We tend to eat the same things over and over again. Well, if you do that, you're obviously going to be getting lots of one nutrient and maybe less of another. I think of a multivitamin as my way to fill in the gaps. So, and I have a great kind, it's called Total Nutrition, that I really like. Superfruit oils, those are basically, you know how you can do like a fish oil, things like that? My favorite is superfruit oils because fish eat algae. So superfruit oil is basically bypassing the fish and going right to the source. So those little samples that you have, the little baggies, the Gen Essentials is what those are called. If you have any questions on those, you can ask anyone at Pilgrim's for them. But the superfruit oil I like is that same brand right there. Healthy energy boost. Okay, so it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you've been working away, or you just kind of have that lull and you're like, oh, let me go to the vending machine or let me get some coffee. I know what people do. And you just kind of want that little pick-me-up. So you get that pick-me-up, and then what happens 20 minutes later? You feel tired again. So find ways to have a healthy pick-me-up. There's a coworker of mine, she goes for, on her lunch break, she takes a quick walk. She'll still eat, but she does a quick walk outside, and it's hot in Texas, but she'll still do it. But it's her way to make sure she has that good, healthy pick-me-up. So find some good things for you. Healthy snacks. When you're traveling or at work, always pack healthy snacks. My favorite thing to do is, almonds, things that can stay good for a long time. Apples are great, they travel really well, but have some snacks on hand. That way, when you get that little craving, you don't wander over to the vending machine or to the fast food place. That's a really great thing to do. Nourishing your body also means cleaning out the pipes. So that might be a detoxification program, a cleansing, which we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. An alkaline diet. Who's heard of an alkaline diet? Some of you? Okay. If you get a chance, research it. On Dr. Lindsay's website, he has a whole article on it. It's the alkaline diet. A lot of people in Hollywood are following it, so it's kind of been popular for that. But basically what it is you eat foods that have that are alkaline, and our bodies are highly acidic because of our environment, our stress levels, the food that we eat, all the things we talked about, the air we breathe, the water. It causes our bodies to be acidic. Well, to be healthy, you actually want your body slightly alkaline. 7.4 is ideal. So what you can do is by incorporating alkaline food, and guess what? The majority of what we're talking tonight is going to be alkaline. So if you incorporate some of these things, you'll be good to go. But eating an alkaline diet is basically helping your body to make sure it's alkaline, because a lot of the things that we eat we don't realize are actually acidic. So if you have more questions on that, definitely see me after. How we nourish our bodies is getting enough green food. And I take a supplement. I eat tons of salads, I eat tons of vegetables every day, but I still do a greens because I just feel like I can't get enough, and it actually gives me a lot of energy. So greens, they have lots of greens here too. It's a packet, and one packet can give you, it could be equal to eating several servings of green vegetables. So it's just a great way to supplement. And superfoods. You can nourish your body with superfoods, which we're going to talk about in a moment. So here's a super self-check, and I just want you to be thinking about these answers in your head. You don't have to say them out loud, but these are some things to look at. Where are you at right now? And depending what your answer is, as long as you're working on improving tomorrow, everybody's at a different spot, then you're in the right path. So do you do a total body cleanse? One that's going to be gentle and natural on your body. Like we talked about, you've got to be cleansing. You've got to get those toxins out. My favorite cleanse is Total Cleanse. I love it, and I believe they have it here. And if they don't, just ask them about it. They can get it for you probably. Total Cleanse is amazing because it's gentle on the body, and it's just making sure it's kind of retraining your body to be flushing those toxins out. And I like to do them, if I have a specific need or a client has a need, we'll do it then. But I like to do them twice a year. You know how you spring clean? I like to do a cleanse then. Another thing is to ask yourself, do you supplement with fiber, digestive enzymes, and probiotics? Digestive enzymes, I think I have all of those for you in the bags, I'm pretty sure. Why we need fiber? I analyze food journals for a living, and I'm telling you, people are probably getting 15 grams of fiber a day. It's recommended we get 25 to 30 or 35, depending on if you're a male or female. 50 years ago, 100 years ago, they had 65 grams of fiber up to 100 grams of fiber. So we're very far from that. So when you supplement with a good fiber, you're helping yourself to be regular, you're cleaning everything out, your intestinal system will be running even more efficiently. Do you consume high quality superfoods at every meal? So this is what I want your goal to be. No matter what you're eating right now, no matter what your diet looks like, make it your goal to have one superfood at every meal. I'm telling you what, you guys, if you started that tomorrow, and I'll give you all the superfoods today, if you start eating one superfood at every meal starting tomorrow, in a couple weeks, if you connected with me, you would report that you feel awesome. You're gonna lose weight, you're gonna have more energy, you're just gonna feel so good. So make that your goal. So either way, no matter where you're at, listen up, because we're gonna start talking about the most nutritious foods on the planet. So 70% of deaths in the US are related to diet. Now I just want you guys to think about that statement for a moment. 70% of deaths in the US are related to diet. So if we could really get this whole nutrition thing figured out, that means 70% of the things you might be going through right now, or maybe a loved one in your family, 70% of that can be avoided. That is my motivation. I want to change that number. I want us to definitely be moving in the right direction. Cancer, deaths related to obesity, depression, and cardio disease. All of these things could be drastically altered. So in your handout, if you're following along, we're going to talk about superfoods. Now, there are many, many more superfoods than what we're going to talk about. I could spend 4 days here hanging out with you guys talking about superfoods. Don't even get me started, because I could. So what I did is I just simplified it, and I picked 4 of my favorite for each category. So you might like some of the things, you might not. What's really cool is you can swap them out. So I'll kind of explain how that works, but all of them have what's called cousins. So basically, for example, what would be a cousin of a blueberry? So any berry, strawberries, raspberries, those are cousins. So whatever I talk about, be thinking in your head. You can jot this down if you want to have a resource for more superfoods to choose from than what I covered today. The website is superfoods, and that's plural, superfoodsrx.com. If you go to their website, and they have a couple books out too. I love their website. It is amazing. It basically will tell you the superfood. Then it's going to have all of the cousins. So if you think oranges, you'd have lemons, limes, all the cousins. And there's recipes for everything. So you might go, well, I want to incorporate more of that in my diet. Then there's some recipes for it. It's a great resource. Now, all of these, everything that I go over, all of it is backed up by research. I've researched all of it. So if you have any questions on it, so say I talk about something and you go, well, I heard that was bad for you. It's the internet, guys. You can find the bad of anything if you look hard enough. So see me after, and I'll definitely, I'll let you know where I found my research, and we can kind of talk then. Okay, so let's start with fruits. I love fruits. I eat fruits all the time. And sometimes clients will come to me and they go, my doctor told me not to eat any sugar, any fruits. I can't have any fruits. You know, the way I look at it, and I respect everybody's opinion, I would of course ask the same from you. So if that's what somebody believes, I respect that. But I personally, I like to eat fruits because I figure, you know, if they're in nature and based on all the health benefits of them, there's got to be something to them. So I love fruits. So we're going to talk about, first we're going to talk about blueberries. Blueberries fight free radicals. Now, when we talked about free radicals, remember, blueberries or free radicals cause havoc in your body. Free radicals cause disease. So we all have free radicals in our body. Basically, the more antioxidants that you can get into your body, the better. You're going to fight those free radicals. You're not going to have disease in your life. Blueberries are a super antioxidant. Do you guys see that beautiful color? Whenever you look at a food, look at the pigment, that color. That blue is the phytonutrient. So basically, when you think of a blueberry, it's technically a fruit, but a plant. It has all these amazing protective qualities in it that actually protect you and your health when you take them in. So think of blueberries, that beautiful color is going to help your body. Blueberries are so amazing. Not only do they prevent cells from mutating, so think when you have a normal cell, if you have free radical damage, toxins, the cell can change, right? And that's how cancer and things like that form. Blueberries can, 1, prevent them from mutating, and 2, if you have a cell in your body that has mutated, blueberries can stop it from replicating itself. So you definitely want to be eating lots of blueberries. The next one is pomegranates, and obviously you guys know pomegranates are pretty seasonal. Who here eats pomegranates? The first time I had a pomegranate, I was like 25, and my coworker brought it in. And I was like, well, what do you do with that? And she showed me, we got the spoon out. I felt like I had won a prize once I dug out all the seeds. They're kind of hard, there's a lot to it, but they're so good for you. And if you guys look at that beautiful color there, that color means heart health. So whenever you see a deep, rich, kind of red, purple color, think anything to do with the heart. It's going to support healthy heart. It's going to help support healthy blood pressure, cholesterol levels. It's going to help prevent cardiovascular disease. So anything to do with your heart, for sure. And pumpkin is the next one. And we commonly think of pumpkin as seasonal, right? It's Halloween, time to get out the pumpkin, bake some pumpkin pie. Well, I found that pumpkin is a great substitute for baking year-round. So when you're getting out your old recipes that you love so much, think about ways you can substitute pumpkin instead. Pumpkin has been linked to a healthy weight. Basically, it helps boost the metabolism. Plus, using pumpkin instead of some of the other things and ingredients, it's going to help with calorie content. Make sure you get it from here because you want 100% pure. If you go to a traditional grocery store, a lot of times they'll have sugar added and things like that. Make sure it's 100% pure or fresh, that's even better. And that orange color you see in pumpkin, it's loaded with carotenoids. It's one of the highest sources known to man as far as bioavailability. That just means your body is able to absorb it. And anything with carotenoids in it is going to help with eye health. It's going to help prevent anything like cataracts, anything to do with the eyes. And we have got to protect our eyes for sure. And kiwi. I love kiwi. Kiwi is linked to anti-aging. So we all need that, right? So think longevity. The cultures in the world that incorporate kiwi in their diets live longer than those that don't. Kiwi is a superstar. It has more vitamin C than an orange, and we know how great oranges are. It also has helped prevent asthma. Asthma is very common in Austin, Texas. Also, osteoarthritis, it helps prevent that. So even at any age, we need to be protecting our bones for sure. Next are vegetables. I hope you're all eating lots of vegetables because you know how good they are. So the very first one is broccoli. And broccoli is going to fight free radicals. There was a study done at Johns Hopkins University, and not only did the broccoli, it prevented 60% of the tumor cells from growing, but it destroyed 75% of them if they had become tumor cells. Think about that, broccoli. You just think of a bowl of broccoli when you were younger, right? Your mom put it on the table, maybe some of you moms. Eat your broccoli. Well, she meant it for a reason because she was trying to help you and your health. So really, eat your broccoli for sure. It's going to help fight cancer and things like that. Next one is kale. Kale is a detoxifier. Who eats kale? Oh, wow, I love this group. Okay, that's awesome. Sometimes you go and people go, I know I've heard about that, so that's good. But kale is great. It's going to help lower your cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. It's also an anti-inflammatory. So when you hear of inflammation, you've heard these words before, but what do they really mean? Whenever your body is inflamed, it's basically going, something's wrong, which has a purpose, but if you're always inflamed, then you can have disease and you just don't feel good, bad things happening. So kale actually fights that. So what I love to do, kale can be kind of hearty if you know what I mean. So some good things to do is lightly saute it. You don't want to go crazy with it because you don't want to destroy the enzymes. Lightly saute it, maybe with some olive oil, garlic, some lemon. Oh, it's so good. And I also recently tried kale chips. Has anyone done that before? I had to hold back. I was like, I had no idea this would be so good. I thought it would be forcing me. Just Google it. I can get you the recipe before you go. It is so easy. Honestly, it was the easiest thing I'd ever done. So kale chips. Next is mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, that's okay. Just go on superfoodsrx.com and they'll have some cousins for you. I didn't like mushrooms until I started dating my now husband, Scott, and he loves mushrooms. And so being a cook, those that cook, you want people to like your food, right? So I started slipping in mushrooms and everything. And over time, I realized I developed a taste for it, and now I love mushrooms, which I never thought I would. But if not, go ahead and try something else. But mushrooms are amazing. They have one serving of them has as much as 100% of your vitamin D. And you know how hard it is to get vitamin D from food, so you can get it from mushrooms. It also is antiviral. Right now, to date, we have discovered 30,000 different species of mushrooms. 30,000, and they have these amazing, strong healing properties. Also, they boost your metabolism. When you hear about metabolism, mushrooms do is they rev up your metabolism, and that helps you burn calories faster. And my last favorite vegetable is garlic, and make sure you have some mint or parsley or something if you're at work to chew on after, because garlic can be pretty strong. But garlic has over 100 nutrients in it. So to give you an idea for that, say you had a peach. A peach maybe has 25 nutrients, so it's so good for you. But garlic, eating a little bit of garlic, you can get over 100 nutritious benefits. Also, it fights cancer. You probably have heard this before. It fights cancer, it fights cardiovascular disease, any immune disorder, and also cerebral aging. So any kind of disorder as far as aging with the brain, Alzheimer's, things like that, anything with the brain, it actually helps inhibit that from happening. And with garlic, have you ever noticed if you eat garlic or someone in your family and you can smell the garlic out of their pores? Well, guess what's happening? It's going right through their body and cleansing right on out. You want that. That's just great when you see that happening. So whoever was smelling up the house was actually really detoxifying. So starchy carbs is next. Now, the reason why I separated out vegetables from starchy carbs, and I do this when I write meal plans for my clients, is because I want them to look at them differently, because they are different. So with vegetables, you're going to get nutrient-dense food, meaning there's a lot of nutrition in it. However, they're pretty low in calories for the most part. To give you an idea, a cup of spinach has 9 calories. Now, if you go to the starchy carbs, they have nutritious benefits, but they're very calorie dense. And I do have my clients count their calories when they first start with me for about 3 days to get an idea where they're at. But other than that, just to get a good idea of portion sizes. But you would be shocked if you saw how many calories were in some of these starchy carbs. So this is something you do want to kind of monitor your portion control with that. So just kind of keep an eye on that. And they are different. It's called starch because they have so much sugar in them, basically. So it can alter the glycemic load in your body. So if someone's sensitive to sugar, you want to kind of see how you respond with that. So I picked my 4 favorites. And these, we all know, we love starchy carbs by nature, so we could eat, the whole thing. But you just want to make sure you separate out, your chips or whatever it is. So first we'll do sweet potatoes. These fight free radicals. They're very high in vitamin C. They actually produce collagen. So as we get old, we know what happens to our skin, right? This is going to help your body have that nice elastic skin, that youthful look. Also, it contains vitamin D. So what a great way, another great way to get vitamin D. And it's high in iron as well. So sweet potatoes, I do sweet potato chips with those. You guys probably have some great recipes. Just throw them in with your meal, amazing. Who has had quinoa before? This is a great group. You guys should get a gold star. That is phenomenal. Awesome. Quinoa is so great because it's gluten-free. So it's an awesome way to get that grain, because really it's a seed, get that into your diet, but you don't have to worry about the gluten. It's a complete protein. So what that means is quinoa has all of the essential amino acids. So it's not necessary to get them all at one meal, but by eating quinoa, you can make sure your body is getting all of those benefits. Also, it's a brain food. It feeds your brain. And do you ever feel kind of foggy or you can't focus or kind of tired, like just up here? That actually could be that your brain is going, feed me, so maybe get some quinoa at that point. Now, my little trick for cooking is I like to cook quinoa and prepare it in vegetable broth instead of water, and oh my gosh, it changes the flavor, really, because quinoa by itself can be a little bland. What I also like to do is just chop up different vegetables and throw those in while it's cooking, and they actually kind of take the flavor of it, the quinoa does, and it's just a great way to sneak vegetables into your family's diet. And it's also a non-dairy source of calcium. So people all the time will go, well, if I can't drink milk, where am I going to get my calcium? There's lots of other sources for calcium. Beans, depending on your age, beans is a magical fruit. Do you remember that? My brother and I would just die laughing. It would drive my mom crazy. But beans are going to help you have a healthy weight. Studies show those that choose beans over, say, meat and things like that, they choose the beans instead, they actually have a lower weight on average than those that don't. But it's a great way to incorporate it. If you're somebody who's trying to get more of a vegetarian diet, because you're hearing so much about the benefits of it, and in my book I talk a little bit about that as far as a vegetarian diet. Beans, I found that really helped me to, and I still occasionally eat meat here and there, not too often, but it helped me to have that feeling of feeling full, if you know what I mean. If you ever try to get off of meat and you eat a salad or something and an hour later you're like, okay, now what? What's next? Because I'm starving, right? So beans is a great way to help you feel full longer. So that's also why I think it helps you have a healthy weight, because you don't feel hungry again right away. And last are oats. And oats, we've heard all about oats. They lower cholesterol levels, right, and LDL cholesterol. They fight heart disease, so they're heart healthy. They're also linked to longevity. So cultures that eat oats actually live longer than those that don't. A very important note with this. With oats, you want to get gluten-free oats. And Trish and I were talking about this earlier today. Oats naturally are gluten-free. However, the majority of them are harvested near wheat fields. So what happens is the wheat pollen will come along and kind of contaminate your oats. So here they sell a gluten-free oats. And what was the brand? Bob? Yeah, okay. So they have it here and you can get it that way. But again, watch your calories. To give you an idea, half a cup has 150 calories. So definitely watch it. But it's a great baking substitute. I use oats instead of whole wheat all the time. I just put it in my food processor. It is magical for sure. Okay, proteins. The very first one, a lot of people go, what is that? Is edamame. And I was watching a video on YouTube and I think they were in Australia, but he was saying edamame. He was saying it different. So if you hear it different, that's probably why. But edamame is basically a soybean. So you think of soybeans are green in the pod. And the first time I made a formal dinner for my now husband, we were dating, I waited a few weeks to make the formal dinner because I didn't want to, his expectations to be too high. So I make this formal dinner. Here's the edamame for the appetizer, and I'm cooking away, doing all this stuff. And I turn around and he's got this weird look on his face, and he was eating the entire pea pod of the edamame. So just so you know, you don't want to do that if it's your first time. You can buy them deshelled just to remember. But sometimes what people will do is they'll steam them, put a little sea salt on there, and then you just eat them right off of there. It's often at sushi restaurants too, is usually the appetizer. But the very important thing with that, make sure it is organic. It might be number 1 or number 2 genetically modified food in the world. It's either corn or soybean, I can't remember, is a soybean. So it has become one of those crops that they put in everything. So when you hear genetically modified, my favorite book on it is called The Unhealthy Truth by Robin O'Brien, and she talks all about genetically modified. She had her youngest daughter came down with all these allergies, like to dairy and wheat and everything, and she went on this whole search to figure the whole industry out and was shocked at how many things are genetically modified. So what it basically means is the farmers, the ones that mostly mass produce, they realized that if they injected a protein into the crop, it would become resistant to pesticides. However, when you put a foreign protein into something it shouldn't be, your body doesn't recognize that protein, and then you start having allergies. So you do not want genetically modified food. So what's great about shopping here, obviously a lot of that worry is taken care of for you. But soybeans, that's really important to get organic with those. Just spend the money on it. But they have 20%, one serving is 20% of your daily iron. And a lot of my clients are iron deficient. So iron is your energy source. It gets healthy blood to your cells. I mean, you need to have iron. So if you feel tired and you have migraines or headaches, look at iron deficiency. Edamame is also complete protein, another great vegetarian option to get that protein in your body, and it's high in fiber. I know when I eat edamame, I'll throw some in my salad to give it some bulk. I'll feel full for a long time with that. Next is chia seeds. So you remember chia? Do you guys remember that? So we're not going to eat those chia seeds. We're going to eat the really natural chia seeds. So chia seeds are linked to detoxification. What a chia seed does when you eat chia seeds, and I'll tell you how to eat them, it basically goes through your body and sweeps your entire intestinal tract. So from here all the way down, you've got about 28 feet worth of sweeping to do. So why do you need to do that? Well, when we eat food that is processed, such as bagels, pizza, anything like that, little particles stick to the wall of your intestine. I've seen images of colons that should be, and they're all misshapen. So what a chia seed does is it actually sweeps out those particles and takes it with them. So chia seeds, they have 1 tablespoon has 5 grams of fiber. Think about that, 1 tablespoon. That's amazing. We just talked about how we need more fiber. Also, what I love about chia seeds, and you can watch this, you can do it at home, they expand 11 times their size. 11 times. So if you eat them and they're expanding in your stomach, you're going to feel full quicker. So it's a good little trick to curb your appetite. So chia seeds, when you see them, they're just little like black seeds. What I love to do is in your packet or in your sample bags, the acai, what I do is I make a little pudding, and I take the acai juice and I put the chia seeds in there. Just wait like a few minutes, and what happens is the chia seeds expand and it makes like a little pudding. That is the best cocktail as far as detoxifying your body, sweeping things out, just a great way to start your day. But what you can do with chia seeds is throw them in smoothies, put them on salads, put them in your yogurt. They just they don't taste like anything. They're very bland. So just an easy way to boost your energy. The next one is Greek yogurt, and we've all heard Greek yogurt has become very popular. It's kind of everywhere now. Greek yogurt has been linked to a healthy weight. Reason being, if you look at Greek yogurt versus regular yogurt, Greek yogurt has twice the amount of protein over regular yogurt, but half the sugar. So you're kind of winning no matter what. 1 cup has 23 grams of protein in it. So it's another great way to get protein into your diet. They're loaded with natural probiotics. You've heard of probiotics as well, and I think that's one of those trendy things that's supplemented in everything now. But you need a good probiotic in your diet for sure. What it is, a probiotic, there's good and there's bad bacteria in our body. Well, we need more good than bad. If you have more good probiotics in your body, you're actually going to be able to fight off any disease that might come your way, any toxins, any colds, flu, virus. Well, what the probiotics do, it's the good bacteria. So it basically helps your intestinal tract, your gut system to be healthy and have that good balance. So Greek yogurt is a great way to get those probiotics. It's going to boost your immune system. So it's just awesome for that. My last protein, if you don't eat fish, that's okay. You can find a cousin of the other ones to kind of fill your diet up. But steelhead trout or salmon would be the option because they're actually related. Why I picked that one versus just any fish, tilapia or something like that, is this is the oily fish. Steelhead trout and salmon, the oil in their body is distributed throughout their skin, whereas the other fish just store the oil in their liver. So you need the oils. When you think of the oils, you think of omega fatty acids, right? When you hear about salmon and steelhead trout. Why we need that is because that oil is going to lubricate our body from the inside out. Hair, skin, nails. I have really strong nails. I have thick hair. Every time I go to get my hair cut, the lady's like, "Oh, we just thinned your hair out again. What is going on?" And I think it's because of that. So if you have dryness in your body, you have dry skin, or your complexion doesn't feel like it's glowing, you might want to look at that for sure. And it also protects your heart. So I know you're distracted by the dark chocolate. I pretty much put that in there for me, but there are some benefits. So healthy fats. Dark chocolate is first, and it's a super antioxidant. It's going to fight free radicals. Its antioxidant level is 8 times that of strawberries. And we know how good strawberries are for us. So, if you have to have a little something, go to the dark chocolate. You just want to make sure it is 70% or higher. So there's lots of options for that now. Now let's say you get the 70% and you get home and you're like, that Kim is crazy because this is gross. You gotta build yourself up to it if you're not used to it, yeah. So maybe start with a lower percentage and then work your way up to a higher percentage. Now I can eat as dark as it is and I'm fired up about it. So it's very good for you. And it also has been shown to fight cancer and fight heart disease. So you've probably heard that before about the heart health of it. The next one is almonds. Almonds are a detoxifier, and what I really like about almonds is they specifically detoxify your liver. You hear about your liver? You guys, your liver is one of the most important organs in your body. We, a lot of times, because of our diets, we have a fatty liver, and you've probably heard that too. What the almonds do is they actually help sweep and get that fat out of your liver. You have got to have a functioning liver because the liver does so many different processes in the body, working on making sure, and when you do a cleanse, a lot of times you're cleaning out your liver as well. So almonds can do that for you. And they have lots of omegas too that are going to help with your brain health. The next one is coconut oil. Who here uses coconut oil? I'm telling you, you guys are awesome. Okay, coconut oil is such a great thing to use for your body care. hair, you can use it as like a conditioning treatment. I put it on my skin every single day. That's my lotion. A little bit goes a long way, because if you don't pay attention, you might walk out and you're like shining down the street. The neighbors are like, who just came out? So you'll kind of have that. Just a little bit goes a long way, I promise. But when you choose a lotion that you're putting on your face, guess what the largest organ in your body is? Your skin. And guess what? When anything you put on your skin, it gets absorbed directly into your bloodstream. So look at your skincare line when you get home and check the ingredients in the back. If you don't know what they are, you might want to Google them. I love coconut oil because there's one ingredient. I know what it is, I can pronounce it, and I just like feeding my body with that. So coconut oil has actually there's some bad rap about it. Coconut oil has what's called saturated fat. Well, when we all had, the red meat craze and everybody was realizing it was causing heart disease, saturated fat got a bad rap. You want the good kind of saturated fat, such that's in coconut oil, but you want a little bit. You only need a little bit. To give you an idea, 1 tablespoon has 100 calories. So it's not like you get home tonight and you start scooping it out, eating it. No. Just a little bit to eat with cooking. And the saturated fat, your body actually needs some saturated fat. Our cells are 50% saturated fat. Studies have shown people, if they don't get enough saturated fat, they'll actually get lesions in their cell walls, like cracks. You don't want that. And it's also, our brains are loaded with fat too. So it's just a good thing for that too. And last of my healthy fats is avocados. And I love avocados. They just have that filling taste to them. They're high in fiber. They top the charts for nutrients like potassium, vitamin E, magnesium. They're also, they've been shown to lower the LDL cholesterol and your total cholesterol levels. And they've been shown to raise your HDL cholesterol, which is exactly what you want. And I just really watch the portions with those. If you don't know, if you have like 1 avocado, it has 200 calories depending on what size. So just be careful with that. I have to like ration it off. Get to the grocery store, I'm like, here's your 2 or 3 for the week. Just pace yourself. Like I could just eat the whole thing. So be careful with that as far as portions go. So those are the healthy fats. So remember, with fats, you need a little bit in your diet. There's certain vitamins that you eat, nutrients that can only be delivered to your cells with fat. You've heard of fat-soluble vitamins. You have to have fat in your meal for your body to do that. Fats, actually, there's about 8% on average in fruits and vegetables in it naturally. So it's already there. You don't need too much. Just a little bit goes a long way, but you do need some fat. Okay, now we're going to talk about superfruit juices. It's probably my favorite category. There's one of each of these in your bags, so now I'll kind of explain them. That way later on when you drink them, you know. So there is a caveat to the ones I gave you. They're 100% pure and there's nothing added to them, so they're very strong in flavor. So if you've tried, say, an acai juice somewhere, and maybe they added apple juice to it and some other things, and you drink the one I gave you, you're like, whoa. So just remember, these are therapeutic. They're just how they are in nature. They're not altered or anything like that. So why would you want a superfruit juice? Well, this is actually a way to supplement your diet. So what I love about these superfruits, these are some of the most rare, hard to find exotic foods on the planet, and now we can get them at our grocery store. It just blows my mind. But why we want them is because they are powerhouse of nutrition. They just flood your body with good stuff. I take these every day and I am just so ready to go. Like, I just get really excited about everything. So you're going to see why when you try them too. So the very first one is acai. And acai is known as the beauty berry. It's been found in Brazil in the Amazon rainforest. It's in the flood basins. And during famines, they actually lived off of acai berries alone, and that was it. Now, how can you live off of a berry? Acai berries have everything. They have omega-3, 6, 7, and 9. So it's a rare omega-7 you don't hear about very much. So it's going to be great for the hair, skin, and nails. It also is loaded with fiber. It's loaded with protein. It's a complete protein. It has more protein than an egg, ounce for ounce. And it's actually linked to weight loss as well because of the B vitamins. B vitamins are actually something you have to get from your food. Your body doesn't make them. And what does the B vitamin do? It's responsible for converting your food to fuel. So if you're not getting B vitamins, you're not having any energy, you're gaining weight, your metabolism's slow. if you take acai juice, you're actually going to see a boost there, and you're going to have more energy. It's awesome for energy. I take a shot of this before I work out if I have a long run to do and I'm ready to go. But it's going to have all the B vitamins. So as you can see, it has all the nutrients that you would need. There was a study that I read, and I don't know if I brought it with me. In this study, the acai, they did an extract with it. It destroyed 86% of leukemia cancer cells. 86%, an acai berry. I just love that. I think that's so phenomenal. The next one is goji. Who's heard of goji before? I think I heard some of you talking about it earlier. Goji is probably my favorite because it's the happy berry. And I just think we need to be more happy. And it is found in Tibet, China, and Mongolia. And they've used it for thousands of years. It's for the, oh, I went out of order, sorry. It's been used for thousands of years as the happy berry. And what it does is it boosts the mood, mind, and memory. So how it works is goji is what's called a secretagogue, and all that means is it helps your body stimulate the feel-good hormones. As we age, we stop producing human growth hormones, serotonin, dopamine. Do you ever notice, maybe you hit 30s or maybe 40s or 50s and you just kind of lost your spunk a little bit? Well, that's actually a biological and physiological response. Your body stopped producing these feel-good hormones. So goji what it does is it helps your body stimulate them. It doesn't do it for you, it helps your body do it. So I have quite a few females that were on antidepressants. It's very common. Maybe you know someone or have experienced it. And with good diet, their nutrition, and getting their fitness going, I've been able to supplement with the goji and help them wean themselves off of it. I mean, it's very powerful. Now, goji, with traditional Chinese medicine, they actually slow cook it at a very low temperature for a long time. You know how tomatoes, they have more nutrients if you cook them slightly? Same thing with goji. So that's why that one, when you drink it, it will be a little bit more liquidy. Goji is also very high in beta carotene, and that's going to help your eye health. Dr. Lindsay Duncan, in his clinic, he studied under Dr. Bernard Jensen, if you know who that is. He literally worked side by side with him for 7.5 years. But Dr. Lindsay had his own clinic, and over time, he was able to get a couple people completely off their prescription glasses by using goji. And I've seen people, my clients, I've seen their how it says negative 4.2 or whatever. I've actually seen them get slightly better. But you have to take it every day. But goji is great for eye health. And then we have mangosteen, and I think this one will probably be your favorite. To me, mangosteen tastes like a watered-down smoothie. It's very easy. It was known as the queen of fruits in like Thailand, Vietnam, basically Southeast Asia, the queen of fruits because it tasted so good. And mangosteen is going to do three main things. It's going to fight infection. So if you get an infection or there's a sickness going around, go to your mangosteen. It's also going to boost the immune system, which I pretty much think all of us can benefit from that. And then it's going to reduce inflammation. So think joint health, anything with arthritis, asthma, and allergies. It's been shown to reduce the likelihood of an allergic reaction. And I have a coworker who, she said that she was gardening, and I don't know if do you guys have fire ants here? Okay, those are terrible. So she was gardening, and the little fire ants started crawling up her hands, and they were biting her, and she ran into the house, and she dipped her hands in her mangosteen juice, and instantly the itchiness, the biting, it all went away, and she didn't have any. And I have had that happen before with the ants, and it takes 3 days for them to stop feeling terrible. It was the mangosteen, it just completely took away that itchiness. I mean, that's just great. And the mangosteen, the most important part of the mangosteen is the purple inner rind. It's called the pericarp, and that's where the xanthones are. The xanthones are the active compound. So there's a lot of companies out there that just use the white part. You want the whole thing, and what I gave you guys today has the whole entire thing. And the last one is my favorite. You might want to have a little water or something ready to go after you take this one. Who's had noni before? Okay, then you know already. But our noni, the Genesis Today noni, is the strongest out there, I would say. But noni is known as the cheese fruit. And to me, it tastes like Parmesan cheese and vinegar. So yeah, in the South Pacific and Hawaii, they call it the cheese fruit. And noni, the reason why it's so strong is what Genesis Today does with their noni is they age them, the leaves and the fruit, for they do a couple processes, but 42 weeks of aging Why they do that is because it brings out the active compounds. To date, right now, there's over 160 novel compounds we even know about. Remember we were talking about the peach that maybe has 25 nutrients? Get a little noni in your body, you're getting 160 nutrients. And depending on who you talk to, there's 60 trillion cells in the human body. So if you're gonna be putting food in your body, you want the one with the most nutrition. Now, what does noni do? Well, noni is so interesting. It actually grows near volcanoes. Now, the soil, the lava basically is full of minerals and nutrients. And noni also likes to grow near other plants, so you're getting all the benefits of the other plants, their nutrients. And what noni does, to me it looks like a hand grenade if you've ever seen them. I want you to imagine that hand grenade in your body. It's going to destroy anything harmful. Yeast, parasites, fungus, bacteria, it's going to destroy it. Also, what I love, and this is why I take it every single day, even when I travel, noni cleanses your liver. And we just talked about that. You have to have a clean liver. So important. And it purifies your blood. So you can't really do any better than that. So noni, if you have a sweet tooth, be prepared. I have a sweet tooth. When I took noni the first time, I had to get some water right away. So noni is what's called a bitter, and you've probably heard that. The bitter, the better. We're not really exposed to too many bitter foods, so it's hard for our taste buds. If you have a sweet tooth, you might strongly react to noni, but you need noni more than anybody, for sure. Noni is gonna help your body be alkaline. So as far as doing an alkaline diet, you get some noni in your body, and you're gonna help turn your blood to that good pH 7.4 we want. Noni is very powerful. And my last category for the superfoods is super supplements. And these, you can get all of these here at Pilgrim's. The first one is cinnamon. Cinnamon is going to fight free radicals for you. It's an antioxidant, and also it destroys candida, and we know that that's become very common. Also, it reduces leukemia cells. If there are formed in the body, it reduces them from duplicating. And this is a cool thing, it relieves headaches and migraines. So I don't take medication, but if I ever get a headache or anything like that, I can go to my cinnamon. So I just put cinnamon in everything, my smoothies, all that. The next one is cat's claw. Kind of like the chia seeds, the cat's claw is going to help detoxify your gastrointestinal system. So that's your detoxifier. It also helps support anyone that has any stomach ailments. So Crohn's disease, leaky bowel syndrome, it's going to help alleviate those symptoms. The next one is spirulina. It's kind of that beautiful green color if you've seen the powder before. That one's been linked to a healtly weight. It boosts your metabolism. It has some of the highest source of B vitamins known to man. It's loaded with vitamin B12 and other B vitamins. Again, you need those B vitamins to keep your metabolism up. It also suppresses fat from being stored in your liver. And we don't want fat in the liver. So by supplementing with spirulina, you're going to inhibit fat from being stored in your liver. And the last of the super supplements is turmeric. And this one is so great. It's actually linked to longevity. But this one reduces the damage that happens to our skin. So a lot of beauty products will have it in it. You can make your own with your coconut oil, throw some turmeric in there, but cook with it. I dump it on everything. I mean, I'm going to make everything bright orange, seriously. But it prevents all kinds of different cancers, specifically even childhood leukemia cancer. And it's also antibacterial. So you can use it for multiple things. So those are the super supplements. And then I'm going to give you guys some tips to help with you reaching your goals as far as healthy weight. And these are just some great things I do for myself, and I do these with all my clients, and this is just an easy thing. Everybody in this room can do these things. The very first one is drink plenty of water. You've probably heard that before. If any of you have ever worked with a nutritionist before or a personal trainer, what do they tell you to do? Drink more water, your doctor, right? Drink more water. Sometimes people confuse hunger with thirst. So if you shouldn't be hungry, but you feel like you want to eat something, go drink a big glass of water, and I bet you any money you'll be right back on track and be able to wait until your next scheduled meal. if you are even a little bit dehydrated, which you can tell by your urine. So if your urine basically should be clear, it's still technically a pale yellow, but it should basically be clear, and that's a good indicator. So if it's not, then you are dehydrated. And if you're even a little bit dehydrated, it actually slows down your metabolism. So use that as your motivation. What I do, I don't have it with me. I have a water bottle in Texas. I have my filter water here, but it has you can get them at the sports stores. It has a little gauge. Every time you drink a cup of it, 8 ounces, you click it. And by the end of the day, you'll have how many. But because people will forget. I mean, it's hard for people to get in that habit. Or another thing to do is take a water bottle with you to work or out for the day and say, before I get home, I'm going to drink at least 2 of these. And then but when you get home, have some more. And that's always good too because it's visual. You can see it and you have that achievement. And studies show those that drink water, they do way less than those that don't. Tip number 2, watch your nighttime snacking. Do I have any people guilty in the audience of nighttime snacking? Okay, I think we all are. My sister-in-law, Crystal, she's my idol as far as how to be. She's one of those people, yep, that's what you do. Okay, great, moving on. I'm like, wait, but what about the cravings? She says, I don't eat after 7, I just don't. And she doesn't. I've seen her in action. My brother's like, no, she really doesn't. So that would be ideal, but I know it's not in a perfect world. Mindless snacking, this is the most important thing to remember. Whatever you're gonna eat, grab whatever you're gonna eat out of the bag or the container or whatever and take it out of the kitchen. Don't take the whole bag with you over to the TV because you know what happens. If you ever saw Never Been Kissed, she looks down and she goes, who ate my pie? She's at her counter. Guess who ate the pie? It was her, but she was mindless snacking. So really watch that. Also, our liver, actually the time that it rests it varies based on your sleeping habits and all that, but 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is when researchers have found our liver is resting during that time. If you eat during that time in your liver, or if you're out drinking and partying, things like that, which is the prime time that people end up doing it, that is the time that your liver should be resting and you're actually eating. So just keep that, use that as kind of your guideline. But if you are going to just choose a low-calorie snack, something like air popcorn, almonds, a glass of milk. I like to take a tablespoon of almond butter. I don't know why, but I'm like all fired up and ready to go. I don't get it, but it's just me. Tip number 3 is enjoy your favorite foods. What's unique about me and the way I consult my clients is I'm not one of those people who will say tomorrow, okay, well, throw out everything in your cupboard and you're eating grass and grapes or whatever is out there. I like to meet people where they're at and I like to take baby steps. I call it peeling back the layers. Say it's an onion. So this week we're going to start with reducing the amount of soda and then we'll move on. Well, you can think of that with enjoying your favorite foods. I believe in enjoying this amazing food and all these things that we get exposed to. Absolutely. I'm just as human as you are and I love food. I get to talk about it all day long. It's amazing. But you have to remember moderation with that. So still enjoy those things. I think sometimes if we go, that's bad and I can never have that, then we want it even more. It's like a little kid. You notice that they do that? So my suggestion is, treat yourself here and there, but just make sure you just have a little bit to kind of get that fix and move on. Also, eat several mini meals. Now, this doesn't work for everyone. I actually am researching for another book on longevity as far as the cultures in the world that live the longest. What do they do? What is their secret? And not all of them eat all the time, like I'm talking about right now. But if you're trying to lose weight, this I actually have found is an awesome trick. I find that if people try to skip breakfast and then eat 2 meals for the day, I find that they end up eating more calories than those that don't. I had a coworker, she goes, I'm like the fattest anorexic person because she never would eat, but she was just very overweight. And what happens is when you don't eat very often, your body doesn't know when food's coming next, right? So what would you do? You would store it like a bear in the winter, right? So you don't want that. But if food is always plentiful and you're eating every 2 to 3 hours, guess what it's thinking? Oh, cool, there's more coming. I'll just get rid of this then. So when I first started working on losing weight for myself, what I did is instead of eating 3 meals a day, I would split the meal in half and just space it out like 2.5, 3 hours. You know what I mean? So instead of having your whole lunch, just split it in half and eat half and then eat the other half a couple hours later. That way you don't have to put too much thought in this. And man, my stomach started growling for the first time in years. It was awesome. Not really, but you know what I mean. I was like, ooh, I get to eat again. So that is a really good thing to try if you're not doing that right now. Tip number 5, supplement. And we've obviously been talking a lot about supplementing today. But I want to tell you guys about my favorite supplement. On my blog, FitKim.com, I have a video on it talking all about the benefits of it. I myself used it. I had my clients use it. And this is the first time ever I've ever liked a weight loss supplement. I have found people who, they have awesome diet. They're eating awesome. They're working out. I've got these people working out 5 days a week, strength training, everything, and the weight won't budge, this last 5 to 10 pounds. This has been able to finally do it for them. And for me, what I like to do is I checked it for body fat percentages, because when you get to a certain point or somebody's athletic, you're looking at their body fat, right? To me, that's a more important indicator than weight. Well, this supplement is called the green coffee bean. I'm sure you heard about it. It's the only one that I found, and I read all the research on it. I was very skeptical when it first came out, because all my friends are like, what do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, no, just eat right, work out. So I started researching it, and it's actually amazing. It's just, basically you have a green coffee plant. It's beautiful. It's bright red. You split it open, and there's a bean inside, and when it's unroasted, it's kind of like a rock. You can't actually eat it. That is what you need, is the unroasted. So if you are going to look into it or know anyone who wants to try it, just make sure they get 100% pure, nothing added. There are products out there that they have what's called binders, excipients. They'll put silica in there, which is sand. Do you really want to be eating sand? I don't. So make sure it's 100% pure green coffee bean, and I think they sell it here at Pilgrim's. And what it does is it has to be unroasted. It can't be roasted. It inhibits your body from using your fat as fuel and forces your liver to metabolize your stored fat. So basically, when you eat a meal, your body uses that food as your energy, right? You can never get to the old fat, I call it. Well, what this does, it inhibits that from happening, and then your body goes, well, I need fuel, I need fuel somewhere, and it takes that stored fat. So in the research that I read through on humans, they were eating a high-calorie diet, they were not working out, which I think is why everyone went crazy when it came out. They actually lost 17 pounds in 12 weeks, but they lost 16% body fat. And that was the important thing to me, because you can take weight loss supplements and you're losing water, you're losing muscle. I've seen some crazy stuff. Or you stop taking it and you gain all the weight back. That's another thing that's very common. With this, at the end of the study, the last 6 weeks, they stopped taking it and they didn't gain any of the weight back. So that's just my one little tip for weight loss for supplements. I really like that one a lot. So superfoods putting into practice. Before you go, I'm going to give you a worksheet, and it's going to be your cheat sheet, basically. I know for a fact you're not going to walk around carrying this. Oh, what did she say about that? So I came up with a little cheat sheet for you, and all you'll have to do is use it to track how many superfoods you're eating. And what you can do is make it your goal. Starting tomorrow, you incorporate 1 superfood per meal. Now, let's just say you're going, well, I don't have any superfoods in my kitchen. Then just track what you're doing for the rest of the week, and then maybe grocery shop over the weekend. Start it Monday and watch your improvement. Just try it. It's amazing. So what is going to work? These are the guidelines for success. I would recommend eating tons of fruits and vegetables. The ultimate goal in a perfect world would be about 80% fruits and vegetables. And I know that might sound crazy. So right now, if you're going, well, yesterday I had an apple and that was about it, don't worry about it. Just starting tomorrow, try to eat a little more fruit and vegetables. It will happen to you. It's a habit. You're changing an entire behavior. Whatever you do, just make sure it's something you can maintain. Also, eat breakfast every day. This is very important. Your body, it's called break fast when you go to sleep and all that, because your body's taking a break. Your metabolism isn't really going to get going until you give it some food. So I know for a fact that people who eat breakfast weigh less than those that don't. I would go head to head with anybody on that. Also, monitor your progress. My favorite website for monitoring calories, just to kind of see how many calories food has and how many nutrients, fat, carbs, and protein you're getting, sugar, all that, is myfitnesspal.com. And there's other ones out there. FitDay I've heard people like. But I really like myfitnesspal.com because you can tweak the program and you can just kind of really look at things. What I would recommend doing is logging your food for 3 to 7 days and see where you're at. You would be shocked. My first marathon, I gained over 10 pounds. Wait, I'm running a marathon. I should be the lightest weight of my life. Guess what I was doing? I was eating everything inside. I'm like, oh, I gotta go for a run, better eat. Oh, I just finished running, better, recharge. So by watching your calories for a little bit, you're actually gonna learn how many calories are really in food. You would be shocked at some of the things out there. So it is kind of hard to do it, but they have apps. So everybody here has a cell phone, right? So you can use their little mobile app, but that's okay if you don't. You can go online. Or you can even write it down on a piece of paper and you'll still see a pattern. Next is get high levels of physical activity, about an hour a day. That doesn't mean you go out and run for an hour every day, but remember, if you have an opportunity to take the stairs, or if you're at work and you can just go for a quick walk. I know people who, they don't even work out, but if it's summer break and they're watching their kids, they end up burning like 500 calories more per day just because of the kids. So there's different ways to do that. Also, eat 5 times a day. We talked about that. That totally depends on you, but I would recommend eating often, smaller meals. Find out how many calories you burn and eat less than that if you're trying to lose weight. Who knows how many calories are in a pound? 1 pound. How many calories? 3,500. Okay, there's 3,500 calories, depending on who is saying it, but yeah, that's what I think it is. 3,500 calories in 1 pound. So let's say next week you go, okay, I'm gonna start working out and I'm gonna eat right and I wanna lose 1 pound. You would have to eat 3,500 calories less. Doesn't that sound like a lot? It's kind of overwhelming. Make it your goal that you figure out how many calories you're eating, and that myfitnesspal.com can actually tell you, based on what you fill out, an estimation of how many calories you're burning, and then you're just going to want to eat less than that, and then you'll start losing weight. Limit your intake of certain foods. Figure out what your triggers are. So my most common trigger for my clients are sodas, wine, beer. It's these liquid things. Also fast food. If they go to Taco Bell or something like that, all of a sudden they fall off the wagon. Or it's the weekend, it's Friday, and they go out with friends and they're like, oh, the whole weekend's ruined. So kind of figure out what your trigger foods are. Stick with it. The one thing I want you to remember is stick with it. People tend to fall off the wagon. It's totally normal. You're trying to change your entire lifestyle behavior. If you fall off the wagon, just pick up the next meal. So say you have a breakdown and you make a bad choice, don't worry about it. Just the next meal, eat something better, and you're going to be right back on track. So in summary, I would combine a balanced diet with physical activity and proper supplementation. I don't like dieting. What I mean is just your diet, what you eat. So eat things that you can eat for the rest of your life. Also, make sure you get some physical activity in there. I would say 80% of nutrition is going to make the biggest impact on your weight. 10% is physical activity, and 10% is probably genetics. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you watch what you eat and start to learn how to eat these good foods, you probably already are, it sounds like a lot of you are, that's going to make more of an impact on you, but definitely throw in a little aside of some fitness in there. Find out what works for you, right? One size does not fit all. We know that just by being individuals, but we also know that with our nutrition too. So find out what works for you. Seek support if you can't do it alone. So if you try this and you're trying to eat better and you fall off the wagon and you're beating yourself up, I would seek getting help, meaning a nutritional consultant. I like working with nutritional consultants because registered dietitians, those are great too. But just kind of find out their background. If it's more whole plant-based, that's a really good indicator. Or work with a personal trainer. A lot of personal trainers have education in nutrition, but some don't. They might just be like, drop and give me 20. You don't want that. You want the nutrition piece too. And the key to weight management is to establish eating and activity patterns that you can do for a lifetime. So all those weird diet things you hear out there, you guys, there's always a new diet around the corner, right? Why is that? Because the other one didn't work. So try to find foods that you can eat and continue to eat your whole life. So if there's any questions, you can stay after. I'll be here for you if you have any questions. And if you need anything, and I'm going to pass around a sign-up sheet. I know you signed up for the Pilgrims newsletter. I have my own. I email it out twice a month, and it's just my inside FitKim tips. But if you have any questions and you leave here and you go, oh, I forgot to ask her, my email is on the very last page. It's kim@fitkim.com, and I will answer any question you have. If you need help with a meal plan, fitness plan, anything like that, let me know. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and have a good night. Thank you.